What's up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 4 of Talktagon here. And this week, we have UFC Vegas 102 to look back on. I'm Brady. With me, as always, Max. How you doing today,
What
Max?
is up? Doing great. Excited to talk about these fights. I may or may not have beat Brady in predictions once again, but we don't need to talk about that. It was a close one. It was a close one. That's for sure. Yeah, there was this one fight. It was like the third to last fight. It was like, all right, this one determines who wins because we split on that one. So I'm excited to break it down.
Yeah. So we kick off with the prelims here. I do have our predictions, of course. Follow us on Bodyslam MMA, and I post the predictions before, and I was a little late this week, but I did post it. So you can see beforehand what we picked, and then you can follow along. But yeah, this is what we did. So we kick it off with Jacqueline Cavalcanti defeating Julia Avila. And we both picked Cavalcanti. So that's good.
Yep.
But so Cavalcanti did defeat her via unanimous decision, 30-27 for all the judges. This was a solid fight, but Avila was cut in the second and was like super bloody. Like really bloody. She had a pretty nasty cut above her eye, and that was the story of the fight. It felt like Avila, she had some offense, but she couldn't really get in the rhythm there, and Cavalcanti was just shutting her down. And then after the fight, Avila actually retired, so she's done. So congrats to her on retirement. Pretty cool. She had her child there, and I assume her husband or whatever is pretty cool. But yeah, so Cavalcanti won. I thought it was a solid performance. She's on, I think, a 4-5 win streak now, undefeated in the UFC, and should be getting higher ranked opponents next, I assume.
Yeah, I think so. I think she's ready for sure. I think I would have liked to see a finish, but Avila is tough in there and couldn't quite get her out of there. But I think that I'm excited to see what happens next as she keeps moving up. And I think she's ready for top 10, maybe even like top 8. Throw her in there to see what happens.
Especially in our division, very, very shallow. So
yeah,
I think she can get up there. She could get up there and eventually challenge for the title.
Right now, Pena's the champion. So I mean,
and
Pena's not getting any younger. So I feel like that division is going to be wide open here in a few years. So
yeah, agreed. So yeah, she gets the win. We're both 1-1, starting off good. Then we go into Walter Walker, brother of Johnny Walker, versus Dontel Mays. We both picked Walker, and Walker got it done easy. This fight was 1 minute and 17 seconds. It lasted. Walker did not even get touched. He took Mays down almost immediately, grappled him a little bit, scooted himself to the legs, and eventually locked in that heel hook to get the tap. Easy. I mean, he called it. He got a heel hook in his last time out, and he said he's going to do it again, and he did it again.
Masterclass, dude. I mean, I'm excited to see where this goes. I remember when Walker first came in, he lost to that Polish dude. I forget his name. That was like 1-5 in the UFC. And I remember me and you were picking those fights, and me and you both were like, oh, he's going to destroy this guy. And then he lost that fight. But then since that fight, he's now 2-0. So now the momentum's coming back. And I feel like maybe in that first fight, maybe he was injured or something because he was looking in much worse shape because he's really leaned out ever since that first UFC debut, where now he's kind of looking like, exactly. So I think that I'm excited to see where he goes from here. And I think it's funny how him and Johnny kind of have a very different styles where Walker has very dangerous submissions and Johnny's kind of more of a stand and bang type guy. You never really know what you're going to see with Johnny, honestly. So I'm excited to see where Walter goes. I mean, we just saw Rosenstrike get cut, so there's one more spot in the rankings for him to take. So I think that he's on his way up there. So
Mays was ranked.
Yeah, no idea how, bro. When I saw that, I was like, dude, they're just letting anyone be ranked. But I'm pretty sure there's only like 30 heavyweights or something in the UFC. So it's like there's a 50-50 chance you're going to be ranked because there's so little heavyweights in the UFC. I don't know why they're letting go of everyone.
if there's 30, there might be 29 by Tuesday because I don't know if Talktagon Mays is staying on the roster. They literally mentioned, they straight up just said it out loud on commentary that Mays is very prone to takedowns and
instantly gets
taken down immediately. Yeah, like I talk about it every week. I know, broken clock, always on it, but you have to have wrestling. Like you have to, or else this is gonna happen.
Yeah, like especially at this point in his career, it's like Mays has been around for a while now, and it's like especially with these big boys, once you're on the bottom, it's hard to get them off you, dude. It's like 260 pounds on top of you, man. I mean, it's gonna be hard to get them off.
And I also want to mention that a heel hook for an offensive move isn't the easiest to even lock in, and Mays just like, I don't want to say you let him do it, but he just like, I don't know, he should have been kicking his butt and trying to move, and he just wasn't. Like, clearly he doesn't have a ground game. So
Walker walked through him, you could say.
Yeah, literally. But the one positive thing I did like about Dante Mays was his entrance. I wanted to mention that he came out to the background music of Debo in Friday, and I thought it was hilarious. But he did not fight like Debo. He got his ass whooped. So
music's not going to save him.
2-0 for both of us here, and this is where things start to mix up a little bit. So Vince Morales versus Elijah Smith. Elijah Smith coming in on his debut. His father was a UFC fighter way back in the day in the 90s. He's coming off of a Dana White Contender Series. Pretty good wrestler. Not much wrestling in this fight, though. This was more of a Elijah Smith showing off his striking skills a little bit. And Morales can take a hit too. So Elijah Smith won unanimous decision 29-28 by all three. The first round was rough. So we got a kick in the nuts. We got a poke to the eyes. And then they like dance around, and then Elijah got like a slight takedown at the end. And it was like, how do you score this? Because what just happened?
Yeah. That nut kick was bad. That was like one of the loudest I've heard. I know we're in the apex, so you can hear it even more, but that was like a thudding echo of like, whoo.
He took down like 3 minutes. Yeah. That was rough. And then started turning fun in the second. So in the second, we had a couple grappling exchanges. Nothing that was too dominant, but they kept reversing each other, and it was fun. So every time Morales would get Smith down, he'd get out of it. He did have him in like 2 pretty tight dart strokes, and he got out of it, which was impressive as hell because I thought it was going to be it.
Me as well. Especially as someone who picked Smith, I was like, oh man, this might be over right here. That looks tight.
Yeah, so he just kept getting up. But then in the third round, it was pretty clear that Smith was starting to take over. Morales, like, he already had a nose issue, I assume, coming in probably from previous fights, but he kept touching it. He kept touching his nose,
Yeah.
And then he was really touching his nose when Elijah Smith faked a takedown, came up with a nasty uppercut, busted him. Like, his nose, like, exploded, blood everywhere.
Bad.
Then he took him down. Yeah, it was nasty. And then Morales kind of, like, reversed the position and got a bulldog choke in with, like, 7 seconds left.
Dude,
and I was like,
the face of Elijah Smith, dude. He was like, you thought he was
panicking. Yeah, he was panicking. And I was like, oh my God, 7 seconds left. Like, at this point, I picked Morales, but I was kind of rooting for Smith. I was like, hold on, like, don't tap now.
Yeah.
And he didn't. So that was good, but crazy third round.
I thought that was a great test for Elijah Smith coming in the UFC against a great veteran like Morales. He's been around for a little bit now, you know. And dude, he showed that he could hang with him. And dude, that uppercut that split that nose open was just absolutely beautiful, and that really turned the tide. And Smith, right up until the end, I was going really smooth, but yeah, I'm glad he held on and didn't get choked out, because that would just be so depressing to have that type of performance and then lose that way. But I mean, I started out hot here, 3-0. Me, you were 2-1. We were looking good here.
Looking solid. And then we move on to Gabriel Bonfim versus Chaos Williams, and this fight was
insane, dude. What a finish. So
when you get Chaos Williams in that cage, you know it's going to be fun. But Bonfim clearly knew this. Everyone knows this. Chaos Williams can knock you out like with one shot. He's throwing, he's trying.
He's chaotic.
Exactly. What's his name? Bonfim was like, he had the plan to just stay away from the power hand and like circle around him and try to take him down, which he did well. Chaos hit him a little bit, but nothing crazy because he was definitely staying away from that power hand. He was using his leg kicks to really slow him down. So the first round, pretty back and forth. Like I said, Bonfim really just trying to stay away from getting hit, and I don't blame him because you're going to go to sleep.
Chaos was doing some overhands, wailing on him, trying to get him, but it was mostly hitting air.
Yeah, and then second round, Bonfim, much of the same, but he did get Chaos down and locked in a doors choke. That commentary was like, "Oh, he doesn't even have it locked in. I don't think it's in. It's not tight. It's not tight." Yes, it was. The referee like goes to check and like realizes Chaos Williams is sleeping.
So, what a great stoppage, bro.
He pulls him off, and Chaos Williams looked like a zombie or something. It was scary. His eyes were rolling back in his head. He was like making like a chewing motion with his mouth. And I was like, oh my God.
Holy shit, bro. That was scary. Like, it literally looked like he was like starving for oxygen. Like he's eating the air, bro. Like it was insane, dude. Like straight up like hyperventilating. Like it was scary. Like I was honestly scared he might be dead, dude. Like he looked like he was possessed, dude. Like, oh my God. Yeah. I saw, they're already making a meme out of him. I'm like, I feel kind of bad, but it was pretty funny. I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, it was scary. When it first happened, I was like, oh my God, is he okay? Like,
that face of like, I've never seen like that combination with the breathing. I'm like, oh my God, dude, what a great stoppage. I mean, if he was a few seconds later, he might have fucking killed him.
Honestly,
I'm like, how long was he out for?
Yeah, exactly. So the reason we couldn't tell because Bonfim was like kind of like hunched over top of him, and we couldn't see his face. We couldn't even see the lock. That's why the commentary.
Or his arms, they're really, it's like you could just see his legs, really.
You couldn't see anything. So great stoppage by the referee, but like again, I made fun that the commentary was like, "Oh, you don't have it in." We couldn't see. We generally couldn't see. You couldn't see anything. You couldn't see Cass' head. You couldn't see his arms. You couldn't see Bonfim's arms. But the ref noticed, and thank God he did, because again, Chaos would have two things would have happened. A, he would have died, or B, he would have just been in that choke for at least like another minute with no one. Like, oh my God.
Seriously, dude. It's like
scary.
Sometimes this is why I'm like, okay, maybe it is good to have an early stoppage every once in a while, because it's like it's crazy how some of these chokes are locked in so tight where it's like it can happen like so quickly where you're just out.
Yeah. And I know that the fighters are gonna complain, but hey, dude, you don't want to end up like that.
Yeah, because now for the rest of his career, that picture will be brought up. The internet doesn't forget. Yeah, I love Chaos. I freaking picked him.
I'm assuming he's okay. Like I didn't get any update that he was like not okay. So like, good.
So I think he's okay.
He should be good.
Just put the legs up and get the blood flow back to the brain. He's good again.
Yeah. But yeah, I did go with Bonfim. You went with Chaos. So hey, we're tied now.
Yeah,
3-1.
For real.
Let's go.
Well, honestly, it started off hot.
Yes, and then we go into the next one, which was Rafael Estevan versus Jesus Aguilar, and Estevan won 29-28, all unanimous decision. This fight was interesting. I was pretty disappointed in Aguilar, to be honest with you. Estevan was like really dominating in the grappling. He was picking him up, putting him down, picking him up, putting him down. Aguilar was just like not doing anything, and I was like, "What are you like? What is going on here?" Like,
and he's like 5'4", so it's like you got to be able to wrestle if you're that small, dude. It's like you're not going to be able to like. Obviously, he can strike. He's gotten some knockouts, I think, or at least one that I remember. And but yeah, it's like he's so small in there. It's insane to see. Like Like, even for that weight class, 125, it's like, even for them, he's tiny.
But then Esteban, so he clearly won round 1 and 2. He did start to get a little bit tired in round 3, and Jesus was like taking over a little bit, but it wasn't enough, obviously. So that's why it was 29-28. They definitely gave Aguilar the 3rd round. He was taking over.
Yeah.
He was like doing well, but not like. I know it's hard. Like, I'm one to talk. I never stepped in the cage. But if you gotta know, like, you got worked in round 1 and 2. You gotta go for it in 3 if you want to win. And he just didn't. So it's like, I don't know. It's like try to go for a minute. Like, what do you have to lose? Like, are you afraid to get knocked out? Like, I don't understand. Like, you're gonna lose regardless.
What I'm looking at the stats here. Esteban only landed 11 strikes total the entire fight. So it's like, you may as well go for broke if this guy's not even touching you, really. It's like, he might take you down. Okay, he's been doing that all fight.
Yeah, that's how he won the fight. It was just the wrestling. So it's like, in the 3rd round, if you know you got basically wrestle fucked in the first 2 rounds,
like, you may as well try it and get a knockout. It's like, worst that can happen is he's gonna wrestle you again.
And what's the worst thing that can happen? You get choked out like Chaos did.
What's the worst that can happen?
But yeah, Esteban, he picked up the win. You picked him, so now you're 4-1. I am 3-2.
I like Aguilar, but man, dude, I just can't pick someone who's 5'4" in there. I'm sorry, unless it's like, unless the other guy's also like really short too.
And then we so solid, like, whatever. Good
shot man fight.
But then we moved on to what was originally supposed to be the prelims headliner until the fight got taken off and got bumped down. Angela Hill defeated Ketlin Souza via split decision, 29-28, 29-28, 29-28. Very grapple-heavy fight, which was interesting to me because Hill was coming off her only submission ever. So I thought, keep it on the feet. But no, I guess she's trying to get. But the fight was all right. But I will say that I thought Angela Hill clearly won this fight, and I was very surprised that it was a split decision.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like Hill was mostly controlling the fight. It's like Souza would occasionally land, but even then, it was like Hill was never hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's like, she landing big, but it's like Hill still controlling the fight with control time, and then also with this stand-up, way more volume. So I think Hill, dude, showing that there's a reason she's been in the UFC for so freaking long, dude. It's like she keeps evolving, and that's what it's like. There's a reason why she's been. It's like, you have to keep evolving if you want to be in the UFC for that long. So Hill showing that she's becoming more and more well-rounded as she ages, and it was a good night for veterans a little bit. I mean, not for every veteran, but at least some of them. Not a certain man that is named Calvin, but other fighters had a great day for veterans. And Souza, I think Souza could, come back, learn from this fight. She's still pretty young, so I think that she still has a pretty decent future in the UFC if she can learn from this, And Hill, dude, what a OG, dude. It's like, how can you not love Hill?
Yeah, and she's like, again, I go back to her. It's different. Clearly different for the men and the women. If you're a veteran in the men's division and you're a little I don't know how if you're I'd say above the age of 35, 40, and you're looking to get a title shot, it's going to be hard. For the women, it's not as hard because the divisions are pretty shallow. So I do think there's a chance she could win her way up to possibly seeing a title, even.
I'd love to see it, dude.
Get there. Yeah.
Hill's one of those fighters where it's like, imagine her as champ, dude. It's like, crazier things have happened, bro. We saw Raquel Pennington as champion, so I mean, we could see it, dude.
I mean, we saw freaking Glover Teixeira randomly want to go
41-year-old Glover, for real. That was insane, dude. Shout out Glover.
So she could definitely do it.
It's rare, but sometimes, the older the fighters get, the better they get. I mean, speaking of the main event, I mean, we'll talk about that later, but I mean, 40 seems to be not the worst number for some fighters.
Yeah. So Hill, shout out to her. She got the win. So we are now tied again.
For real.
This was a theme throughout the night. We were like,
yeah.
Back forth tie.
We picked so differently, so I thought it'd be a little, but it was literally like 50-50. Oh, I got that one. Oh, wrong. Oh, this one. Oh.
Yeah, so we're looking good, but then we're tied now. You broke the tie in our prelim headliner as Connor Matthews lost to Jose Delgado via first round finish. Finally, we got a big knockout here.
Let's go.
So there's not much to talk about as far as Connor Matthews. He got worked.
Yeah, unfortunately for him. Yeah.
Delgado landed a very nice spinning back fist, more like a spinning forearm, to be honest with you. But he hurt him, and then he drops him, and then just some nasty ground and pound, especially the elbows, and finished him off with the KO. Like Delgado looked good.
Oh yeah, he looked really good. Made pretty easy work of him. So I think that Delgado has a very bright future, and I think that Arizona's own training over in Phoenix, and I think that, man, he looked pretty big in there too for the division. So I think that man, I think I want to see him. Obviously not anywhere ready for ranked yet, but get him another tough veteran in there and see how he handles that. And I'm really interested to see if there's another highlight reel.
Yeah, it's like Matthews, man. He just, what can you say? He didn't do anything, and it's no fault of his own. He just got caught. That spinning back fist was nasty. So, hey, bounce back, I guess. That's all you can do here.
That's what happens in the UFC. You get put up with a prospect that's not going to lose to many fighters that are not ranked, So sometimes that's just how it goes.
But hey, decent prelims, solid, not bad. We got a couple finishes, especially some submissions. Poor Chaos Williams. But then we move on to our next, which was the main card, and I was excited about the main card for a few fights, but we got a little bit of a. I can put it up here. We got a little bit of an interesting one in our opening bout. Here we go. So Andre Petroski versus Rodolfo Vieira, and Petroski got the win.
Yes. I was shocked.
So he won via 30-27. And again, as you expect, especially with these two, a little bit of grappling, but I thought that the interesting part was that the grappling almost canceled each other out, and then it became a kickboxing fight.
Yeah.
Like we tried, there was a little bit of grappling exchanges, but for the most part, they just
struck, really.
And I thought that Rodolfo, I'm going to be honest, I thought Rodolfo Vieira was doing way better on the striking. And I was like, he's going to win this fight.
Yeah, Petroski's not known for his stand-up whatsoever. I mean, we've seen him knock himself out going for a takedown, like
with a hip.
Yeah, with the hip, dude. I'll never forget that.
But Petroski won, and I was very surprised about this. I was very surprised about this.
You freaking picked him. You shouldn't be that surprised. Oh, just because it was the decision.
Yeah, I just when it went to the decision, I thought, okay, Vieira won that, and he did.
Especially 30-27.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? But then after the fight, he called out Bo Nickel.
Yeah.
He said, "Where's Bo Nickel at?" And Bo Nickel then went to social media and said, "Sorry, the van said I can't fight cans anymore," which I thought was funny.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the call out. It's like, okay, but I'm also like, it's never going to happen. But I mean,
first of all, I'll be fully honest with you. I know how internet MMA fans, how they talk and yada yada. They don't like Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel would absolutely destroy Andre.
Oh, yeah.
He would wreck him.
I know, dude. It would not be close.
No. He'd take him down and he'd beat him up. Like,
I saw someone say, "Oh, you just fought a can." I'm like, bro, Paul Craig is now a can. I'm like, bro. I'm like, what is this, dude? I'm like, oh yeah, the guy that submitted Ankalaev, who's 50-50 with Pereira, is a can. I'm like, yeah.
Broke Jamal Hill's arm.
Yeah, I'm like,
Former champ.
Bro, I'm like, Paul Craig has been downgraded to can now. I'm like, dude. At one point, people were saying Craig is gonna be a champion. I'm like, dude, it's crazy how fickle fans are. And I think it's a sign of good growth for the UFC where there's this much freaking casual fans that don't know anything, dude. It's like they're so confident in their wrong opinions, dude. They're like, you're fighting a can, Paul Craig. I'm like, bro, Paul Craig is nasty, especially on the ground. It's like, bro,
on the ground, yeah.
There's a reason that like Ankalaev was submitted by Craig. I'm like, Ankalaev, people say he's like gonna destroy Pereira with his wrestling, but gets submitted by a can. Interesting.
People were saying that Paul Craig was gonna beat Bo Nickel. And
yeah.
yeah.
The vision is history, for real. Yeah. So I think, Bo handled that about as well as he could, because it's like Bo's on his way up, bro. It's like, why are we fighting?
Forget that Bo Nickel's like, he literally like, he's brand new to this.
Yeah.
Is that like 4 fights in the UFC?
Yeah, that's why, honestly, even though it won't happen, I wouldn't mind it happening, just so Bo could freaking destroy him. I'm like, Bo is like, yeah, he just had his first fight in like, what, 2022 in amateurs or something? Like, not long. It's like he's like a few years deep into freaking training MMA at all.
Exactly. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
yeah.
Everyone else, every single other person besides Bo who were to start in 2022 would freaking go through the contender series like he did, and then go on the prelims, which he didn't, and then kind of like work your way up with like other kind of similar unknown talent, and then gradually go up, maybe get a big fight. People want Bo Nickel to like get destroyed by whoever, like the champ or
they're like, give him Hamza
immediately. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. They're like,
whoa,
put him in there against Hamza. Put him in there against Usman. Like, what the fuck are we doing, dude? He's like 4 fights in.
100%.
Chill out.
It's like, I will say Bo doesn't exactly help his case with how he's talking. He'll be like,
I mean,
take all these guys easily.
But he's supposed to say that.
Exactly. It's like, if you're not saying that, I'd be a little worried, because it's like, what do you mean you don't think you can beat him? Don't go in there if you don't think you can win, bro. Yeah, so I definitely think that though sometimes it rubs fans the wrong way, being confident definitely helps. But yeah, we got a little sidetracked. But yeah, Petroski got the win. I was still pretty shocked. And I don't think, especially after that performance, it's like, bro, you could barely beat Rodolfo Vieira, who's very old at this point. And I'm like, bro, Bo is coming into his prime. So yeah, I think Petroski needs to get a few more wins, and then maybe go for Bo Nickel if maybe they'll be at that same level by then.
Yeah, Bo's teasing fighting in Miami, so if he wants a quick turnaround, maybe we'll see that. I don't know. But so yeah, Petroski gets the win, and then we moved on to Ismail Bonfim versus Nazim Sadikov. We both picked Bonfim here.
Yeah,
I thought I was going 2 for 2 on the Bonfim brothers. I thought they were both winning. That was not the case. So
crazy, dude.
Nazim Sadikov defeats Ismail Bonfim via TKO ref stoppage in between rounds 1 and 2 on the stool. He stopped the fight. So Bonfim got kicked in the face basically, and it cut him under the eye, and then his eye started swelling up a little bit.
Crazy.
This is where I kind of get frustrated, because we saw the same thing with Johnny Walker. When the translator comes in and asks, and it's almost like bro, like, you're translating for them. Tell us what they said.
Yeah.
And then they're like, because there was some confusion whether Bonfim said, yes, I can see, or yes, I can't see, which is like how did, like, what? So they stopped the fight. Bonfim did look a little like frustrated at first, but then he like was like holding his eyes, so maybe he couldn't see, and it was like good stoppage. I don't know, but yeah, just a little bit confusion in the corner. But he definitely got the shit kicked out of his face, and his eye was busted bad. So Nazim Sadikov gets the win, and yeah, I mean, kind of, I would have liked to see the fight go on a little longer. There was not much we could pull from Bonfim. It was just getting started. I mean, both of them were just getting started, and then a kick to the face, and it was like, well, now this fight's over. So
yeah, I'd say I definitely learned that Sadikov is nasty. That's what I learned from this.
Yeah. Well, he did say following the fight, he was like, bro, I was just getting started. I could have go 5 rounds.
Yeah.
He said, put me in there with anybody. So, hey, he's confident, and I like to see it. He looked good. It's been a while since he's been in there.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't sure what to expect, especially going in there against someone like Bonfim, who's a solid fighter. But yeah, dude, Sadikov is really back on my radar now because that was just crazy performance. Even though it was a little weird stoppage, I do think that the eye was compromised. And if he went back out there, I feel like he definitely maybe could catch Sadikov, but I think Sadikov was on his way to a great performance. And man, I want to see him back in there soon because he didn't take much damage.
For sure. I mean, by the talks of him on the post fight, he also wants to be back soon.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see it. Don't take such a long layoff. But hey, good win here. And we both picked Bonfim, so
that one was an L for us, but a W for Nazim.
The next one was a dub because we go into Edmund Shabazian making his return against Dylan Butka, and Shabazian won via TKO punch round 1. Easy. It was basically a one and done. I mean, they danced around a little bit. It went on. We're like a minute or maybe close to 2 minutes into the fight. This little back and forth, and then Shabazian just dropped him. He just caught him. Butka walked right into it, caught him right on the side of the head, dropped him down, finished him with some ground and pound. Edmund Shabazian back in the win column, looking good with a round 1 finish. This was a kid who was like thought of as the next prospect. Ronda Rousey was hyping him up. He was like, this is going to be the next guy. And then he took a little bit of a dip. But now he's going back up. He's a father now. So maybe that helps. He's going back up.
Yeah, dude. I love to see him back in the win column, dude. Like you said, he came in on the Contender Series, I think one of the first or second seasons, and came in hot, won a bunch of fights, and then went on a bit of a losing streak for sure. It was like some talk of, I think maybe, did he leave the UFC at one point? I can't remember, but there was some talk of maybe his might be time to go back down to the regional scene, and then now he's coming back and looking good here. And dude, he showed that Budka, I don't know, I think maybe it's
yeah.
He looked tiny in there and just did not look like he had the tools to deal with Edmund whatsoever. And Edmund did exactly what you're supposed to do in a case like that and get him out of there quickly. So all credit to Edmund because Budka, did not look good, and Edmund looked amazing. And that's what happens. First round KO. I think it was only 7 strikes landed total for Edmund.
Yeah, it was quick.
And got him out of there with only 7 strikes. So that was quick.
And most of them were the ground and pound after. So,
yeah.
Like, there's not much. I mean, like I said, not much we can talk about. Butka literally didn't do anything. Did Butka land a strike?
Let's see. It says 1 strike for Budka.
1. Okay. So he landed 1 strike.
Not much to talk about.
But he got dropped. So
yeah. Again, I want to see Edmund get back out there quick. It's like maybe give him one more. Maybe get him his confidence back up.
Just like Sadikov, running back quick. Like
for real.
When you have this momentum, and especially like I know people like to take breaks or whatever, but when you're like peaking when you're cutting weight and then you're like ready to go, and then you go in there and finish it fast, keep it rolling. Like you can like keep your weight in check, so then you don't have to cut an insane amount of weight for your next fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're feeling good and just rolling along, unless obviously you have like a freaking 5-round war and you're like, I need to chill. But when a fight like this, like, hey, 7 strikes, you went in there, you freaking basically sparred and knocked someone out, and then get back in there quick.
Yeah, dude. So shout out to Edmund, dude. I want to see him back, maybe one day. Obviously, maybe a few fights away, but I want to see him back in there against a ranked opponent. Because he's still only like 27, I think. So I think still plenty of years to go on his career. So I'm excited, dude. I was scared for him for a little bit, but now he's showing me that no need to worry, bro. I got you. Any they come in, show him how it's done, dude. Shout out Edmund.
Yeah, so we're looking pretty decent going into the last two fights, but this fight up next, go main event, frustrated the shit out of me. Calvin Kattar versus Yusuf Zalal. Yusuf Zalal defeats Calvin Kattar via unanimous decision, 29-28 by all three judges.
Zalal,
Yusuf Zalal is on, I think, a 3-fight win streak now. Was out of the UFC. They brought him back, and now he's on a 3-fight win streak. But I will say that he looked good in his movements. He did a good job. Firstly, round one and round two, he did a good job moving around and sticking and moving. He was hitting Kattar a little bit. He actually busted up his nose.
The first 2 rounds, especially, he was looking good.
He looked good. He was really making Kattar miss. I mean, Calvin Kattar couldn't do anything. I would love. Do you know the strike landed?
Let me see here.
Because he wasn't landing.
It was all in round 3 for real. It was, let's see, 74 strikes for Zalal, 38 for Kattar, and let me do round by round here. Let's see. Yeah, Kattar had 8 strikes landed in round 1, 10 landed in round 2, and then he doubled that up in round 3 with 20. So Kattar really took a while to, get the range, but he almost did, dude. Like, in that third round, Zalal started slowing down a little bit, and Kattar started turning it up. And, bro, once he landed, like, this crazy elbow, I think, in the clinch, I was, like, starting to really sweat that. I'm like, Zalal might be slowing down from all this movement, and Kattar might be starting to hunt him down. And Kattar nearly, honestly, was starting to get that range where I'm like, if this was a main event, I feel like Kattar maybe would have started to turn it on more. But Zalal escaped and was able to survive early. He started running around.
There was a second where he, like, threw a kick, and it, like, just missed. Because Zalal got out of the way. Like, I was like, if that kick landed straight in the nose, he would have been done probably.
Dude, you could tell Kattar was getting frustrated too. Like, he's like, could tell. I was getting frustrated. Head off.
Yeah. Dude, I was getting so mad because obviously I picked Kattar, but I hate to see a fight like this. And I know it's smart for Zalal, especially in the third round, when you know that you're up 2 and Kattar's coming to take your head off. Get the fuck out of the way. I know. But holy shit, he was literally running. Like, at one point, running.
Yeah, literally.
To just stay away from Calvin Kattar. It was so frustrating.
It was so,
God, it was frustrating. Kattar was, like, walking right at him and, like, trying, like, swinging, and he just run the whole other way around the cage. I'm like...
He wasn't even throwing at that point. At least in the first 2 rounds, he was gabbing, but at that point, he's like, get me out of here.
And the first 2 rounds were frustrating to a point where it's like, okay, it's frustrating, but Zalal's doing what he's supposed to do. He's moving around, he's sticking and moving, he's landing, yada, yada. The third round, he was just moving.
He was running.
He wasn't throwing any punches. He was just getting out of the way. No kicks, no returns. So Calvin was throwing elbows and trying to punch, and Zalal was just moving and running. It's like he wasn't even counter-striking. It was like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then I saw a bunch of people in the comments like, yeah, maybe you need to cut Zalal again. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But that was brutal. That was a brutal honestly, maybe thank God it wasn't a 5-round fight, because there's a chance we could have seen 2 more rounds of that. Yeah. And that would have pissed me off even more. Then I would have cut him. That would be so infuriating.
For real, bro. It's like Kattar, dude. I don't know. It might have been the knee injury, because he just looked a little bit flat-footed, even more than normal, even though he was
definitely slower.
Yeah, it's like he looked a little bit old, a little bit damaged, because he's been in some crazy fights, had some unfortunate injuries in some of them. But yeah, it's like it's like when he's had his range, he was dangerous when he landed, but he just took a little too long to get going for sure.
Yeah, that was someone who, if I could rank like my personal favorite fighters, Kattar's up there, and this is super frustrating to watch for me. It was pissing me off, actually. I picked Kattar, and I was like, oh, my God, can hit him. But no fault in Kattar. Like, he just couldn't catch him. He did look a little slower. Frustrating. But Yusuf Zalal did get the win. And then he did say after the fight that he wasn't fully happy with his performance. And I thought it was really funny that the Intimate Apex was booing the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Like, there's not many people there. They're like, boo!
Like, shout out my opponent. They're like, boo.
Yeah, they did not like him.
Bro, dude, I know that's the sound of guys who bet on the underdog. I might have put a few on as well. I wanted to see Cater get even though I picked Zalal here, the odds were speaking to me because Cater was like plus 300 or it was more. It was crazy.
I put a little tiny bit, like a tiny. I'm talking cents on Cater, and I had a parlay because it was like boosted and all that. I'll throw a couple cents because I
boosted, baby.
The couple other people I wasn't confident on, but you got to go with the underdogs if you want to make money. But that's what we did. So we usually say, hey, this is who we're betting on this week. If you pick this guy, da-da-da-da. And that's the next one. Jared Cannonier was an underdog against Gregory Rodrigues, and we both put money on him. I put a decent amount of money on him.
Me too.
3 times. So I got triple my money because this guy when I did it, he was I think a plus 110 when I bet. Because I bet late. I bet during the card. You might
crazy,
have been
bro.
I'm not sure, but
dude, for me it was like 180. I was like, bro, it kept getting higher and higher. I was like, bro, what is going on? I'm like,
yeah, thank God I bet when I did because Jared Cannonier versus Gregory Rodrigues. So Jared loses round 1.
Oh yeah, badly. 40-year-old Jared's coming in here too. 40.
Yeah, 40 years old. Gregory looked great in the first round. He dropped him 3 or 4 times in the first round.
Yeah, it was a beating. It was like everything he hit through, it was landing.
Dude, when I saw that first round, I'm not gonna lie, because I had already bet on Jared at this point. I was sweating. I was like,
me too,
my God,
dude.
I want to win.
Yeah, I told all my homies, I'm like, guys, Jared Cannonier is the underdog. I don't know how. What the hell? I'm like watching. I'm like, okay.
Maybe this is why.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, honestly,
I understand it now.
I thought this was similar to the Whaley thing. Like, why are you putting Jared as underdog? But then after the first round, I'm like, oh no, maybe that's why. And then Jared Cannonier got his ass beat in the first round, and then apparently went into the corner and was like, all right, I was just playing around. Now I got to actually turn it on. Because then second and third round, he bounced back. He was beating Gregory Rodrigues up. He was walking him down. He was still getting hit. He had a little bit of a swollen eye, Jared did. But he was really hunting him down, sticking that jab. He busted him over. I think it was like corner of his eye, maybe his nose a little bit. He busted him up.
Yeah.
And then, man, the end of round 3, he dropped him, jumped on him, ground and pound. Bell rang. Jared didn't hear the bell. He thought he won. He didn't win. The bell rang. Jared sat after the fight, which I thought was really funny. He said, I jumped up after the third round and was like, why is no one cheering? I won. Wait, no, you didn't.
Yeah, it was like he basically did. Little did he know because Gregory was done. Was done after.
Fourth, dude. So Gregory Rodrigues, when he stood up in the third round, he was wobbling. Like, oh my God. They might call this in a corner.
Those ground and pound strikes, bro. It was like he was dribbling his head off the freaking ground. Like
Jared wanted to win, bro. They call him the gorilla for a reason. He was throwing them goddamn gorilla fists, hitting him right in the freaking head. It was brutal. I was like, honestly, I thought they were going to call it in the corner because he was wobbling. He wasn't walking straight.
I would have personally.
His corner was like checking on him. He was like leaning against the cage as they're calling it. They're going to call it. They didn't, but it didn't really matter. I mean, it mattered because they could have saved their fighter. But fourth round comes 21 seconds into the fourth round. Jared Cannonier knocks out, TKO. Gregory Rodrigues. He put him against the cage. He dropped him. He finished him with some ground and pound. The ref stepped in within 21 seconds. Jared Cannonier, outside of the first round, looked nasty. The guy's 40 years old and still looks great. Again, outside of the first round. But he won. We got the money. The underdog money hit. Thank God. We did it again. Back to back.
Bro. Let's go.
In the headlining fights, they put the person who we think should be the favorite as the underdog. I'm gonna bet on him. Whaley
every time.
Cannonier. Shout out to Jared Cannonier. He looked really good. But we talked about this a little last week about what would be next for whoever would win this fight. And now we know it was Jared. Jared Cannonier was interviewed at the post-fight press conference and really opened up about how he does not know what's next because there's 5 guys ahead of him or 6 guys ahead of him. 2 of them he has not fought, one being the champion and the other being a contender for the champion. And then that rest have beaten him. So what does he do?
Yeah,
Where does he go from here? It is tough. We talked about last week whether he would maybe fight the loser of Dricus and Sean. So now we know that's Sean.
Yeah.
Maybe he has a rematch with Sean. Maybe, and hear me out on this, maybe he has a rematch with Izzy. I know the first fight was really boring, but maybe with non-title on the line, Izzy needs a win. Jared definitely needs to beat Izzy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more fun. But then you have why am I blanking on him? Just beat Izzy. Imavov. He deserves a title shot, but if he's not going to get it, because we know Hamza is probably next, maybe he fights Cannonier. But then at this point, I'm like, does Cannonier deserve to possibly beat him and jump right over everybody else for a title shot?
Yeah, it's tough.
Maybe he fights Whitaker.
It's tough. Rematch. He already fought Whitaker too. It's crazy. Yeah, like you said, he has fought pretty much all the top guys. That's why I was so confident in Cannonier winning this fight. I'm like, it's not like he gets destroyed in any of these fights when he's fighting these top guys. It's like he always, puts up a halfway decent fight at least, or if not win. So Jared has been around for so long, and man, bro, he's fought some freaking beasts. So it's tough. It's like maybe it's tough to say. It's like at this point, maybe give him another contender kind of similar to this one, where someone on the way up. But I feel like it's like tough fans. I don't know if they're gonna want to see a rematch.
Yeah. It's gonna have to be it's probably gonna have to be either a really middle of the card rematch or a fight night headliner. I can't see Jared Cannonier fighting anyone in a main event slot right now as far as
I think
rematches, because other than maybe a fight night, because he, like he said, he got beat by everyone, so it's hard.
A good fight would be, I think
it's not even UFC. It's, do these people want to rematch Jared Cannonier when they already beat him?
Yeah,
after a performance like that.
Yeah, after seeing what he just did. Yeah, that's a really good point. It's like that's why I'm like I'm kind of leaning towards the new face. It's tough.
Yeah,
because it's like he's fought literally almost everyone that's top of the division. It's like one name that I don't think he's fought. It's like throw him in there against someone who is very inactive. So Paulo Costa, maybe throw him in there with Paulo Costa. I could see that one. It's like Costa's coming off of L, I think, but Costa probably is one of the bigger names in the entire division. So I feel like that could be a good little main event or something for a fight night where I'd be really interested to see who wins that fight. Has Jared still got it, and has Costa still got it? Honestly, it's like Jared's a little bit older, that's for sure, where it's like maybe Costa shouldn't even be in these conversations with him. But yeah, it's like Costa, we don't see him get wins that often lately, and we don't see him fight that often, honestly. So I think that would probably be my matchup if I had to match him up.
Man, looking at the top, him being 7 might move. Maybe Kaio?
Yeah. Didn't he just fight him, though? Let me see. Yeah, he just freaking fought him. Lost. That was a UD. Lost back in August 2024, dude. Yeah, Kaio, dude. Yeah, that was the one where Jared broke his arm, he said, and won that fight.
Oh, yeah. But then, again, Whitaker he fought.
For real. So I'm like, I feel like Costa's the only one.
Yeah, the only two is Hamza and Imavov, but obviously going for the title.
And then I think he even fought Imavov, too. Yeah, he fought Imavov and lost. Crazy, bro. Yeah. He's fought everyone.
Has he fought Brennan Allen? Or Anthony Hernandez? Because they fight next week, and maybe the winner of that could fight him.
Yeah. He hasn't fought either of them, so.
Yeah, maybe Anthony Hernandez winner of Anthony Hernandez and Brendan Allen could possibly, because then Brendan Allen's currently right now 9, so he's right there. If he were to win, I'm assuming he would probably boost up over Marvin Vettori.
Yeah.
Maybe he could fight Cannonier again. Then if Fluffy Hernandez wins, he would definitely boost up. And it looks like Brendan Allen is higher up than Paulo, so I don't know. It's going to be hard for Cannonier. He mentioned that. He knows it's going to be hard, especially at 40 years old. Gregory Rodrigues is surprisingly young.
Yeah.
The guy's 32 years old, and he looks like he's
old.
also 40.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I saw someone say he's 32. I knew he was younger than 40. I didn't realize he was 32.
Yeah. Me neither, dude. I was like, this guy's also old. I'm like, this is the battle of the old men. Then I look up the ages. I'm like, what the?
He was in his 20s looking like he was 40. Like, what the fuck?
For real, though. Some people just have that freaking extra
testosterone. He has that
ages.
He has that grizzled, like, I know you know the look, like the grizzled Brazilian fighter look.
Oh, yeah. For real, like, bro. He's seen some things.
Yeah, but he did, but he hasn't. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, Cannonier did get the win. RoboCop. Maybe it was that freaking time when he got elbowed in the face. And
I know. That
aged because
for real. Oh my god, that was disgusting. I thought maybe that was going to happen again fighting Cannonier. He's known for his crazy elbows once he gets on top, but no need.
And man, I felt bad. I thought it was funny because Rodrigues did an interview saying that he puts pictures of Jared Cannonier all over.
I saw that. I'm like, what the fuck?
He said his pictures were everywhere except for his bedroom and his daughter's bedroom, but they were in the bathroom, the kitchen, the living room, everywhere, and he would just stare at him, and his daughter would talk to him, and I'm like, well, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's like, that might be a little too far.
And then he lost. It's just, oh, man, it was brutal.
Yeah, brutal. Shout out to Jared, though. Won us some money. And, hey, if you guys follow us and see our picks coming out every week, hey, we win. We're more right than we are wrong. So, hey, this is not betting advice. This is not betting advice. I don't always bet on who I pick. Sometimes if there's a good deal, good value, I have to go with the underdog. Or sometimes I think the underdog's going to win, in this case.
For the little parlay that I did Calvin Cater, I did Bonfim, I did Edmund, and then I did Rodolfo.
And then
I lost that because they all freaking lost except Edmund. I was pissed. Petrosky won, so it didn't matter to me because it did matter, but it didn't matter like immediately but he had a loss, and I was like, well, that parlay's done. I'm like, damn, Bonfim lost. Oh, Edmund won. Damn, Cater lost. Shit, what was I doing? I just threw it on to make some money because I had a boost. Like I said, I put 63 cents on a profit boost that boosted me up to get $10, and I was like, fuck it, I'll do that.
Fuck it. Hey, dude, for real, though. Sometimes that's what you got to do, bro. The small returns, and then
exactly. Then you keep racking it up. But it didn't matter because Jared Cannonier won me some money anyway, so shout out Jared Cannonier.
Dude. I love Cannonier, bro. Freaking 40-year-old wonder.
We ended up, I was 7-5, you were 8-4. You beat me by 1.
Oh my god. Dude. That was crazy, dude. I thought I was about to choke these freaking main card, dude. I started 0-2 on the main card. I'm like, Edmund needs to clutch up for me. And then Zalal nearly chokes, and I was like, and then Jared's getting like freaking.
Yeah, Jared, I'd be sweating. For real. So yeah, I am currently 29, 18-1, and you were 33, 14-1. So we're not too far off.
10 picks above 500. That's freaking solid, dude.
We're looking good. We're looking good right now, brother. Next week, before we end the show, of course, next week I'll show you. We got some decent stuff. The card was flipped on its freaking head all week. Here it is, UFC Seattle. The card was – there was supposed to be like a bunch of other fights, and they were canceled or whatever.
At least it's a free fight.
Main card kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN Plus. Again, not a pay-per-view. And the main event, I'm glad that the top 2 fights are still intact because these are 2 fights that I was excited for anyways. Henry Cejudo, who is the plus 210 underdog against Song Yadong. Are you going to throw something on Henry?
Maybe. I don't know. I
This
like
one's hard because Yadong is good.
Yeah.
And then we have in the co-main event, no odds yet, but Anthony Hernandez, number 12, or Brendan Allen, number 9. Again, this could be for one of them. Boost them up higher in the rankings. Should be a good fight. I'm pretty excited for this. Then we have the return of Sheen Silva, which I really like. He's freaking awesome. Versus Melsick, Bagdasarian. This should be good. Plus 350 underdogs. Crazy. Then we have, this is not true.
Yeah.
This isn't true. This fight has been canceled because Dominic Cruz was injured and retired. They did have a replacement for him. I'm blanking on the name right now.
It's a contender. I can't remember what his name.
Rob Font is fighting, just not Dominic Cruz. Then this fight is also canceled. UFC needs to update their shit. This fight is off. UFC. Edson Barbosa was injured. He's out. Steve Garcia did not get a replacement fight. This is off. You know what? Hold on a second. Because now there's a couple different fights here. Hold on. I'm going to try and see if I can get an updated card. Because apparently UFC...
Go to Tapology.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, there we go. There's a bunch of different because Alonzo Metafield. Yeah, this is fully. Damn you, UFC. Hold on. Let me move everything around.
They do not update their shit, bro.
No, they did not update it at all. Okay, here we go. This is not
Dana.
Updated.
Dana, all the money's going to Nina Drama instead of the freaking programmers. Get the website updated.
Okay, here we go. So we have Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. We have Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. Rob Font versus John Matsumoto.
There we
16-0. Here we go.
That's a tough one.
Silva versus Bagdasarian.
Catchweight.
Alonzo Metafield versus Julius Walker. We have Andre Fili versus Costa, who's back. Kutalaba versus Eva Aslan.
I love that picture of him.
Yeah, these fights were switched around. I knew he was on the main card and he got bumped down. So that's how I knew. Okay, Billy Goff versus Adam Fugit should be good.
Fuck it.
Resultant versus Rizabella versus Eric Moncanito.
Rizabella freaking huge, dude.
He is a late notice replacement. Actually was supposed to fight on a regional fight Friday, but he pulled out of that fight to step in for this. So this will be his debut.
All right. Cool. Tough debut.
Yeah, Ricky Simone versus Javi Basharat. Should be something.
One of the Basharat brothers. Beast.
Mansour Abdul Malik, 7-0. Versus Nick Klein. Should be a good one here. Abdul Malik, great wrestler. Modestas Bukasuskas. How the fuck you say his name? Versus Javier Cerquera.
Yeah,
man. Some of these lower guys, they got to switch their name. Should be solid. Now here's the full fight card, the actual fight card. Damn you, UFC!
Come on, UFC.
Seattle next week, but this is the headliner right here.
Beautiful.
Should be good. Good.
Let's see if Henry's washed or not. How washed is Henry?
Yeah, Song Yadong is not a joke.
He's no joke for real. So this is a little bit of future versus past here.
Yeah, the main card kicked off at 9, and I'll see right here the prelims kick off at 6. So 6 p.m. also on ESPN Plus. So there you go. Next week we'll have our picks out. You can check that there, but you can follow me here on X at Brady Fight Talk. You can follow Max right under his at Combat Convo. It should be a good time next weekend, especially in that main and co-main. Without further ado, thanks for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow wherever you're watching, YouTube, Twitch, X, whatever it is. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.